Tinkers, 2009, Paul Harding's debut novel, explores the life of George Washington Crosby, a man on his deathbed reflecting on his past and family history. Blending George's memories with tales from his father's life, the novel examines themes of mortality, memory, and the intricate bonds between generations. This work of literary fiction won the 2010 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction and the Penn Robert W. Bingham Prize. As George lies at home, surrounded by family, his mind drifts to significant moments in his life. A clock repair enthusiast, his passion for fixing clocks began with a broken find at a tag sale, accompanied by an 18th century repair manual. In his hallucinations, George imagines his house collapsing, sending him to his basement workshop enveloped by clocks. His thoughts often turn to his father, Howard Aaron Crosby, a tinker and traveling salesman who roamed rural Maine with his wagon of goods. Howard, who had epilepsy, a condition he and his wife, Kathleen, concealed from their children, loved repairing things. However, he struggled as a salesman, often working for little or no pay in a community wary of spending money. This led to tension with Kathleen, who criticized his lack of practicality. As George's final days unfold, he wakes one night to find his grandson Charlie reading by his bedside. Startled by the silence, George realizes all his beloved clocks have stopped ticking. Charlie explains that George's wife instructed him not to wind them so the ticking wouldn't disturb George's rest. To George, however, the silence feels ominous, akin to the stillness of death. Panicked, he persuades Charlie to wind the clocks. In another tender moment, his grandson Sam accidentally cuts George while shaving him, causing a commotion as the family rushes to care for him. This incident prompts George to reflect on the legacy he'll leave behind and how he will be remembered by future generations. George also recalls a pivotal childhood memory of his father. On Christmas Day in 1926, Howard suffered a seizure while carving ham, collapsing and hitting his head. Kathleen, desperate for help, instructed young George to put a spoon in Howard's mouth to prevent him from biting his tongue. The spoon broke, and in the chaos, Howard bit George's hand as he attempted to retrieve the pieces. This vivid episode encapsulates the fragility and resilience that define both George's and Howard's lives. Through its lyrical prose and poignant storytelling, Tinkers offers a moving meditation on the passage of time, the weight of memories, and the enduring ties of family. The bite George suffers from his father's seizure is severe, requiring stitches. When Kathleen consults a doctor about Howard's epilepsy, he hands her a pamphlet for an institution that houses people with intellectual disabilities. This moment unsettles George, who feels torn between affection for and frustration with his parents. Overwhelmed, he decides to run away from home. Kathleen sends Howard after him, but as Howard leaves, she deliberately places the pamphlet in plain sight, signaling her desperation. George takes refuge in a friend's shed, while Howard, conflicted, hopes his son escapes to a better life. Yet when he eventually finds George, his feelings shift to disappointment. Upon returning home with George, Howard notices the pamphlet Kathleen has left out. Realizing her intent, he makes the painful decision to leave his family. The following day, Howard departs for good, determined never to return. As Howard walks away, his thoughts drift to his own childhood. He recalls his father, a preacher whose mental and physical health deteriorated due to illness. Howard watched his father's decline with a mix of fear and shame. One day, Howard's parents took a carriage ride together, but only his mother returned, cryptically saying that his father was gone. In the aftermath, young Howard sought solace in nature, wading into a pond until only his head remained above water, vowing to stay there through the night. Hunters found him unconscious the next morning, revived him, and sent him on his way. Not long after, Howard experienced his first seizure, which left him feeling as though he'd brushed against death. This encounter reshaped his view of life, which he began to see as both fragile and miraculous. After leaving his family in Maine, Howard resettles in Philadelphia, where he finds work in a grocery store. His creativity and dedication quickly earn him a managerial position. Taking a new name, he marries Megan, a warm and talkative woman. Though his new life brings him joy, memories of his children haunt him. In January 1972, Howard confides in Megan about his belief in a shadow self, an alternate version of him living a parallel life. That night, he dies peacefully in his sleep. Nearly 2 decades earlier, on Christmas Eve 1953, Megan travels to Pittsburgh to care for her ailing mother. Seizing the opportunity, Howard borrows a car and drives to Enon, Massachusetts to find George. When George opens the door to his father, he is struck by the passage of time. Howard's visit is brief. He meets his grandchildren, asks after George's siblings, and leaves shortly after. This fleeting reunion is the last memory George recalls before his death. Through this interwoven tapestry of lives and legacies, Harding crafts a profound exploration of family, identity, and the enduring marks left by those we love. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.